Yeah, I always laughed at my UC professors because I always felt like they were making out with the board. That's what I feel like right now. I usually am way more like involved, right? But, que sera, sera. We're going to define, so let's introduce notation, some cool notation. And this comes from a guy named Richard Stanley. There's some fun, I forget where he is right now. Anybody ever seen the movie, what was the one, Good Will Hunting? They said, in that movie, they said the guy that was the main character was working with a Fields Medalist in combinatorics, and it was a big joke at the time because there had never been a Fields Medalist in combinatorics before that movie, and then like a few years later there was one. Yeah. No, not funny for you all? It was funny for me. Anyways, Richard Stanley is a combinatorist. He's a very famous combinatorist. He wrote a book called Enumerated Combinatorics. He introduced this notation. It's not standard in our fields yet, but it's a beautiful one. It's the bracket notation, or the brace notation. And this means that it's the set of all positive integers from 1 to, could you guess? 10. And it's a really, really nice thing to do. We might actually use this throughout the quarter if that's acceptable to you. Anybody as exhausted as I am? No, one gentleman is definitely shaking his hand out. I'm feeling it in my hand. What's a faster way to deal with this set? Dot, dot, dot. All right. You can think about this as and so on. So you got to say that this is leaving some work to your reader. And we're going to talk about some of the downsides of using ellipses. It's a beautiful, beautiful technique for saving yourself from muscle spasms, from writing too much. But there is a downside to it, which is because we're not writing everything explicitly, some information is left to the mind of the user, and for unskilled writers, this is an issue. So we always say, writer beware. The proof of understanding is in the mind of the writer. Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
What did you say the notation is called?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I know this is Richard Stanley's brace notation. To be honest with you, I haven't looked at that book for probably, 2005 was the last time I looked at that book. But I love that notation. It's a good one. And it's particularly useful because when we're in this class, we're going to be doing indices for matrix multiplication. And instead of having to write 1, 2, 10, I can just go 10, right? Should we call it the SAM notation? Yeah, brace notation maybe?